This week on Horsetown, the real reason why the Irish dominate.
Probably didn't have a lot growing up, but you always seem to have an animal around the house, a pony or a horse.
The truth about training in Newmarket.
And if you can't train in Newmarket, you can't train anywhere.
Why the weather's a problem.
The whole point of training in Newmarket is we've got 400-year-old gallops that no one else has got. And in this weather, we can't use them.
And a reminder of the dangers.
I've swallowed my tongue. I've started having a fit or a seizure.
We're in Newmarket with our first Irish trainer, Martin Dunne Racing.
So the horse in the front is a horse called Poor Toro.
Martin trains from a small yard in the Hamilton Road.
I'm Martin Dunne. I initially started off in Ireland as a conditional jump jockey. Arrived over to England in 1996 as conditional for Gordon Richards up in Greystoke in Penrith. So I spent 10 years with Godolphin, working under Saeed's care, both here in Newmarket and in Dubai on a couple of occasions for 6-month stints. Then after I left Godolphin, I went to work for William Haggis for 4 years, riding out there. I was just a work rider, but very good yard to work in, really nice horses, good quality animals and good top owners, so that was really a good experience. Off the back of that then I went as assistant to Johnny Butler for a couple of years, and it was there I kind of built up a bit of a client base myself, where some owners were promising to send me some horses to train in my own name should I be willing to take a license out. So it was then I decided to do the modules at the racing school, and on the back of completing the modules I made the plunge and took out a license here in Cleveland House on the Hamilton Road in Newmarket, and started off with 5 or 6 horses.
Further down the Hamilton Road, the vet has arrived at Stuart Williams Racing.
Okay, he can go back on the walker, please. Pretty good. So, this horse got an abscess in his foot. I don't know if you can have a close-up of his hoof at the front there. And we had to cut, the vet had to cut part of his hoof out, the vet and the farrier between them, to get to the abscess. Managed to drain it out, put a orthopaedic shoe on, glue-on shoe, so he's got no nails in it, and he's much sounder now, so we'll hopefully start on him again. Eventually that hoof will grow back to normal, with some minor attention from the vet and the farrier. It's like you having a stone in your shoe when they have things like that. It's just so painful for them, right. And they can't do anything with it. It's like you come in sometimes and they're like that, you think, oh God, it's broken its leg, and it'll be a tiny little abscess in its foot. And the only way you can get is dig it out. And unfortunately, they're usually at the bottom. But unfortunately, that one was nearer the top than the bottom, and we had to cut a load of the Jack and the vet, Jack and the farrier between them had to cut a load of the hoof wall away to get to it.
It looks a bit more dramatic.
Yeah, it does.
It looks a lot more dramatic than it
actually is. Yeah,
for him and his foot, I think. Yeah.
Well, what's mending? Is it time?
Time. Yeah, it will just grow back down, and because we've got the way the shoe is holding on, just with those flaps, what it'll mean is that it'll keep everything still, so that the horn shouldn't grow with too much of a deficit down it. We're just got to wait and just keep it clean and keep it tidy whilst it grows back. But it'll be a few months, but it shouldn't actually interfere with its ability to train and race with it like that.
Is it just one of those things? It's a kind of...
It's a slightly uncommon place to get an abscess, but it's a very common type of problem to have, and And so Lawrence and I were just approaching that from a different direction rather than trying to dig a bigger hole, which looks better from the outside, but it's probably more structurally difficult for the horse to manage.
Right.
Whereas that is not as difficult for the horse, although it's a bit ugly for us to look at it. But that's our problem, not his.
But there's no bandaging on it. It's that...
No, the horn is, although the horn is live, it doesn't mind being exposed to the air as long as it's dry and clean, and we haven't got any cavities, because we actually want it to form. We want it to grow down without any deformity on it. We did have a poultice packed up into the front of that whilst it was still active,
Right.
but now that it's dry, we've just dried it back and let it run back out.
They're quite natural.
Yeah.
So they'll just turn around where they are now, and they'll literally walk back down here again in front of us.
We're out on the training grounds with Martin Dunne.
It's just a routine canter.
Right.
There's a couple of them in that the second and the last and that actually worked yesterday, galloped yesterday. So today that's just a leg stretch for them, just a nice, easy, relaxed canter. Pretty casual.
And how many lots do you do today?
Normally we'd probably bang out 5 or 6.
How many?
Mm.
Okay.
When I started here on my own first, I could do 9 or 10.
Wow, that's a lot.
But Patrick was my son. He does mucking out in the summer. He's at university,
Right.
so he's here for the summer now. But when I started first, when we got up to like 9 or 10 horses, I was exercising them all on my own.
That seems extreme.
He was mucking out, I was riding out.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just you two.
Yeah,
And that was like a couple of years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah,
And how many horses did you have then?
we had 9 or 10.
Actually 9.
Yeah, we started off with only 5. Got a couple of new ones.
Yeah.
Then I thought we'll probably have to try and get a member of staff. Which then we got Tom, who's the guy who's in front
I
there.
was on the front. I met him the other day.
Yeah, Tom. Yeah. So he's been with me since then. So probably for the first 6 months, I was riding out on my own.
Yeah.
Doing initially 5 lots a day, which was easy, and then 6 fine, and then 7, 8. We got a couple of new horses. So as it built it, so then it worked out. We got him, which brought it back down to about 4 or 5 each again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is still a lot.
yeah, well, 4 or 5 of each is easily doable for us here.
Right. Okay.
We use the walker as a warm up.
Cool.
Rather than a lot of the bigger yards couldn't do it because they've got too many riders. They'd have 30 or 40 in a string. It wouldn't. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
But they'd have to walk around for 30 minutes on their back to warm them up. We use the walker to warm them up.
Because you can fit them in.
Yeah, the 4 of them have been on there for 30 minutes before you arrived,
Right.
with their saddles on.
Yeah.
So as soon as the riders arrive, then they've done
They
their
were warmed up.
yeah. So, and then we just walk them home. They have a nice cool down, and then back in. Normally, obviously today you're here, but normally we would have 2 more on the walker
Right.
being warmed up.
Okay, for the next lot.
Yeah,
So how many horses you got in right now?
we have 14 at the moment.
14.
Yeah.
So you'd usually be riding out anyway, wouldn't you?
Well, I ride out on a daily basis.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is weird for you.
This is this doesn't happen to me very often. Stood here watching them, but it's actually nice to get to stand and watch them canter up. You see different things as well.
Yeah.
But you see a lot of things. You feel a lot of things when you're on their back. But just to visually watch them is nice too, for a change.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. Hi Tom.
Good luck.
Hi Cal.
Yeah, very good.
Hi,
Yeah,
hi,
very
yeah.
good.
Hi Cal.
Yeah, as well.
Occasionally on Horsetown, we are reminded of the dangers of working with horses. Horsetown regular Brae Lezar tells us about her recent accident.
The filly that was leading us got a fright, scared my filly, and my filly's reared, and where this lip of the grass and the poly track is, she's fallen backwards and landed on top of me.
Oh.
And as she's done that, I've swallowed my tongue. I've started having a fit or a seizure. And people then realised what was going on. And Amadeo came and he helped me. He pulled my tongue out of my mouth and called the heat medics and done all of that jazz. But luckily I only came out of it with a bruised lung, severe concussion, whiplash, and I've done something to my hip. But
no broken bones?
No broken bones. I was in hospital the day before Christmas. Don't remember Christmas. I remember Dylan phoning me a couple days later and all I said to him, I've only eaten scrambled egg for 2 or 3 days. But I remember nothing for quite a while. And I was in Hong Kong 2 weeks before that, and I still don't remember bits of Hong Kong.
Right.
So it's just all to do with the concussion. And I found I'd speech delay, I couldn't speak, and my speech was not right for a while. But with time, everything's just got better.
But this is just part of being who you are, yeah?
Absolutely. With anything, it's made me better and want to do better. I mean, it shows you the reality of the sport, but I've come out of it tougher.
This happened in a second.
Just one of those mishap accidents that just happened.
So you're back riding?
Back riding, full time, have been since the end of January, beginning of February.
Yeah.
And then I had 2 or 3 falls since, I think just because it was playing on my mind and I just didn't relax, and then I've been fine.
We were also at Cunha Racing to talk about Dubai and Ascot.
We had a really good summer. Won a Group 2 towards the end of the year, and a Sunday series and a racing league in between that. We had some other good winners, obviously 37 winners, and then that naturally expanded us into Dubai, which was always part of our business plan, was always where we wanted to go. There's good prize money in the winter, good weather for the horses and staff, and obviously myself when I'm out there. And it's obviously a good opportunity to win some decent races. It's really competitive racing out there, and I think it's very important as a yard to have a yard out in the Middle East, whether it be Bahrain, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, or any of those countries, because there's really good racing there in the winter and good opportunities for horses. That you may have a horse that gets injured in the summer and you miss the season with him, and then that gives them a good opportunity to still race while the all-weather racing is on here.
One of Dylan's hopes for Ascot is Karma Chameleon, who's being loaded up to race at Sandown in the National Stakes, a race that will decide the Colts' Ascot chances.
Everybody looks amazing. Yeah, we're 4 weeks away from Ascot. At the moment, we definitely have 2 runners, all being well, that will go, possibly 3 or 4. It's very tough. Don't really want to go there without a horse, with a horse without a chance. I'd rather go and enjoy the day without a runner, to be honest, if the horse doesn't have a chance. But look, it's really competitive. There's a lot that can still happen between now and then, but we have got 3 or 4 earmarked, and a lot has to still go right between then and now for us to have any runners really.
And do you want to tell us who those horses are, maybe the 2?
Yeah, so we've got Cartwheel, who's going to go for the Sandringham, and then we've got Toby Tops, who's got 2 options there, which the owner wants to go for. And then we've got Karma Chameleon. He runs in the National Stakes tonight. Depending how he runs, he will look at one of the 2-year-old races. And then we've got 1 or 2 other babies that are still to run. If they can get out and win before Ascot, they might have a chance at it. But if not, it's not the be-all and end-all. There's still a long summer ahead for us.
Papi, sai totale later.
So who was that just left then?
So that was Cunha Chameleon. He's on the way to Sandown. He runs in the National Stakes tonight. And then that will tell whether he goes to Royal Ascot or misses it and goes for the sales races later in the year.
So it's a big race today.
Yeah, listed race, 7 runners, real good field of horses, really competitive. It's going to be tough for him, but we'll see how good he is today anyway.
You may think sunny weather is ideal for training horses, but Stuart Williams and Tom Fanshawe don't see it that way.
It'll be quick. We've had no rain. There's been a wind and sunny every day. Just real drying conditions. They will have put loads of water on, but it'll be quick underneath. They'll be.
So what's this weather do for you? Is it too dry or is it?
Yeah, well, it's too dry for the whole point of training in Newmarket is we've got 400-year-old gallops that no one else has got, and in this weather we can't use them, and we're using a polytrack that everybody else has got.
Yeah.
Okay, so walk back down and then trot back towards us, please, Riaz. Just gently. If she's very lame, we'll pull her up, and she doesn't look too bad there, actually.
Unfortunately, we haven't been able to use the grasses as much as sometimes, but we are lucky that the sense that we have the water gallop, so we've been able to work a lot of the horses on the grass on the water gallop, which is a gallop that gets watered and maintained on the racecourse side, and we've sent quite a few horses down there. So in terms of the training, it's kind of been as normal, but we've been using the water gallop more often than we probably would do normally. But we've also probably not had as many runners as we would have perhaps if it had been we had some more rain and the ground had been good or slightly easier than it is at the moment. Obviously, there's barely been any wet days since the start of April, so even March really, to be honest with you. So we haven't been able to use we haven't had as many runners as we may have done had we had better conditions. But there's plenty to get going in the next few weeks, and there is rain due next week, so hopefully there'll be more action to come. If you can't do a trot and several, 2-1-2 on the several is there. From the left, 2-1-2, and then trot 2, walk 1, trot 2, and then wait for the others to come back in. Okay.
But Tom and Stuart are both happy with the way their seasons are going so far, and mention some horses to look out for.
We're here at Peg Stables with middle of May now. The season's getting well into gear. It's been a decent start. We've had a few nice horses, a few horses start off and win some nice races, and hopefully they got progressive profiles heading into season. One of the notable horses to start the season was Glittering Legend. He has won 2 races now. He won a listed race on the second start nicely at Newcastle, and hopefully might be the type of horse to head to Royal Ascot, providing we get the right ground. He's also in the Coral Eclipse, but we'll have to see what happens between now and then. Another horse that has won nicely this spring has been Back in Black. He won quite impressively at Newbury, and hopefully be a nice horse for the second half of the season there. We're looking forward to Royal Ascot, where hopefully we might have Kind of Blue running for Wasman, and he seems in good order, so we're looking forward to hopefully getting him to Royal Ascot.
We've been doing well, we've been having plenty of winners. We had the double at Windsor on Monday night, so the season's going well for us, and very much looking forward to the big events coming in the next couple of months.
So which events are you talking about? The bigger
Well, we've got Ascot and York and the July Festival here. You know, the flat season kind of rolls along one into the other. We've got the Derby meeting coming up at the end of the month. Always fascinating to be there at the Derby meeting to see what happens, and we've been lucky at that meeting before. We've won the Dash a couple of times. Hopefully Existent might be aiming that way this year. He's been in great form recently without winning. He's a very frustrating character, but he would have a chance if he went there. And like I said, I don't know at the moment whether we got anything for Ascot or not, but definitely have runners at the July Festival here, and we've been successful there before as well.
Of course, you had the excitement of Quinault. Is that the right way to say it, Quinault?
I don't know. That's the way we say it. They're a tribe of French-Canadian Native Americans.
Yeah.
That, and I think it might be Quinault or something like that is the correct pronunciation, but we all call him Quinault. Yeah, he's back from Dubai now and prepping to run at the end of the month in the John O'Gaunt Stakes at Haydock. Is the plan with him. He's back in full work again now, had a nice break since he came back from Dubai. Pleased with how his prep's going.
And can we perhaps go over and have a chat about Sir Rapscallion?
Lord Rapscallion,
Lord
yes.
Rapscallion.
Yeah, he's a stable favourite, and he's actually won his last 3 starts now, so accumulating in a win on finals day at Chelmsford in a valuable race, so we're very pleased with him at the moment.
Why are the Irish so good with horse racing?
So, for me, I would think it's probably something to do with the fact that we've grown up with it. In the racing school here, even in Newmarket, you can see kids that are attending the racing school have never ridden before.
Yeah.
So they're starting from absolute scratch at 16.
Yeah.
Whereas most kids in Ireland would have been pony racing, or would have been bashing around hunting and ponies and well before that.
Right.
So they've got years of experience before a lot of these would have.
That's got to be part of it.
And pony racing in Ireland has been a big thing for a long time,
Right.
which certainly has got to help you with your race riding.
Is that just obviously very amateur sport? You turn up with your pony?
Yeah, it's an amateur thing, but it's very, very competitive, and you know, you're taking on ponies that are of a decent level.
Yeah.
So if you want to be competitive, you most certainly have to have a decent pony. You have to be able to ride. Little cottage I grew up in. We had an acre field beside it. And we had 4 or 5 stables in there. We always had a horse banging around.
Right.
And my brother had a pony, and I got a horse of my own, and you know, just progressed from there. But most people that have anything to do with racing will have some horse around their field as they grow up, and they'll.
So just a natural progression.
You wouldn't go very far in Ireland driving in the countryside. You wouldn't see a horse in a field.
Right.
Or stables, or you know, something of that nature, because it's just a real done thing over there. The ponies without a saddle. You know, it was just fun, and that's what we got a kick out of.
Yeah.